Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deborah Spector, and I work in the Business and Economics Department here at the Los Angeles Public Library. Welcome to Financial Literacy Month. Today's program is called Social Media Essentials for Business and is brought to you by SCORE and the Los Angeles Public Library. Patty Ross from SCORE will discuss basics of social media to develop a manageable and effective social media strategy, as well as the latest social media trends every business owner should know to grow their business. We will have a short Q&A at the end of the presentation, so please send us your questions throughout the program. A quick announcement about upcoming events prior to starting today's program. As I mentioned, we are currently celebrating Financial Literacy Month, and the library is offering a series of programs to help you learn about managing and growing your finances. On Monday, April 25th, we will present on creating a budget. Tuesday, April 26th, we will present on scam prevention and ways to prevent financial elder abuse. And for small business owners who want to do business with the City of Los Angeles, please join us on Wednesday, April 27th, where speakers from the Mayor's Office of Economic Development will discuss vendor requirements, contracting, and how to use the Regional Alliance Marketplace for procurement. And now, on to today's program. Take it away, Patty.
Thank you. So I'm in the show now. So let me switch screens here and make sure you can see it. So welcome to Social Media Essentials for Business. So hopefully everybody always wants to know about social media, but there's a bigger world of marketing out there, as you can see here. Hopefully everybody's seen this particular slide. The traditional side of marketing, right? TV, radio, print ads, billboards, public relations, promotional products, and then the ever expanding world and can be confusing, overwhelming digital side of marketing, right? Today, we're going to be talking about social media, but of course, websites, email marketing, search engine optimization, text, Wi-Fi marketing, new things like social media influencers, geofencing, retargeting of ads. So a lot of different things. So where do you go, right? Where do you go? Where do you spend your time and money, most importantly? So let's go from there. I love this quote. I just came across this recently, but as if you saw the movie Field of Dreams, remember, if build it and they will come only works in the movies, like Field of Dreams. Social media is a build it, nurture it, engage them, and they may come and stay. So very important to remember, it's not a set it and forget it. It's not I'm going to do this occasionally and see what happens. I always say in all of my classes, and I'm going to put this on a t-shirt one of these days, the more you're out there, the more you're out there. So very important with social media. It's all about engagement to get that reach, to get people to potentially do business with you. So from here, top 10 social media marketing mistakes here. Don't want to make any of these, right? So no plan in place, nowhere to focus first. So I always say, first thing you should do before you go onto social media and do email and all the other, I call fun stuff in marketing, is have a plan, have a marketing plan, have goals in mind, know who your customers are, specifically where they hang out on social media, have all your branding and messaging all going, content available, as I'll talk about here, before you get out there. So very important. And then not being clear about the short-term and long-term goals when it comes to social media. Social media is very, what I call a slow burn. It should be very a long-term goal, not necessarily a short-term, like I'm going to post and suddenly I'm going to have a bunch of business. Not how it works. Only the lucky few that go out there, go viral, sell their product or service, but generally it's going to be a slow burn, slow process. Not getting the basics right first. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of different things you can do on social media, posts and Instagram. You can do carousels and TikTok videos and Instagram Reels and stories. Just if you're not consistently on the social media right now, just get those basics. Just do some basic posts before you get all fancy, as I usually say. Not measuring the right numbers. So we tend to get caught up in the vanity numbers, call it like how many followers and how many likes you have and how many engagements you have. But very important also is what's happening. Great, you have 10,000 followers on Instagram, but are they converting, right? Are they doing anything? Are they purchasing? Are they visiting your website, calling you up, whatever the action is that you're asking them to do? So you should be looking under the hood and looking at analytics to see what is happening once you put posts up. And then expecting too much in too short of a time, which kind of ties into number 2 as well as number 6. If you're not very clear about your short-term and long-term goals, you'll probably expect too much in too short of a time. And then you're probably going to likely give up, be disappointed, and give up too early. So again, having 2, 5, and 6 in line so that you're not giving up, because you're going to know ahead of time, expect that it's going to be a long-term goal, okay, and not give up too early. It does take time to build that engagement and traffic and all that. As we said in the Field of Dreams quote there, not having quality content in place. So images, video, social media, and marketing is all about having content, right? So making sure you have that quality images of your business. There's a lot of stock content out there to create that you can use that could help fill in the pieces, but you should have quality pictures of your business, your products, your services, of you, your staff, whatever it is that you're going to be promoting, and video content, whatever it is you need to do to get it out there. And it's always going to be a steady stream of content. It's not like I'll take pictures and I'm done for a couple of years. I want to keep it fresh. And then thinking success will come naturally to the ones with the best product or content. Again, there's few out there who go viral and overnight success, but usually for most of us, it takes, like 10 years to become an overnight success kind of thing. So not expecting too much, just being consistent out there, right? And consistent, posting regularly, engaging, building up those followers and fans and likers and all that. And then trying to do it yourself when you don't like social media. If you are the business owner and you just don't like it, not inclined, don't have time. Sometimes it's just you are wearing every single hat in the business, and you're trying to do the marketing and in between the more important things for your business, like, hiring and getting products and services and building content, oh gosh, I need to post, right? I need to put up, and it's not something that should be in your wheelhouse. And especially if you don't like it, it won't get done. Right? If no one likes to do things we don't like. So, and then thinking everybody can do social media. So just because your 17-year-old nephew is fabulous on Instagram and loves creating videos, doesn't mean you should be your social media person. Tiffany in the tasting room, if you're a winery, for example, shouldn't be doing it in between seeing customers, right? There is strategy behind it. There is thought and planning and pulling all the content together. So make sure you have somebody in place, whether you hire internally or an external marketing company to do it. Make sure you have somebody who knows what they're doing with social media. And make sure they understand if there's sometimes you get younger social media people, nothing wrong with that. But they might, whether you're younger or older, which I won't say discriminate against one or the other, sometimes the older folks think, oh, I don't go on Instagram. I don't need to know about that Snapchat stuff. And then the younger ones like, oh yeah, Facebook is for old people. Nobody goes on Facebook anymore. So have somebody on there who knows that it doesn't matter what you do, it's where your customers are at. Very important. So those are the mistakes we don't want to make. Okay. So let's look at a few stats here. So by generation, very important, especially when it comes to the direct-to-consumer platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, of course. You're looking at age groups, right? So here we have it by generation and generation, and some of these crossovers you can see here. So they're pretty close in the first 3 age groups. It does definitely drop off as you see that 65 plus. So that first group, Gen Z, with a little bit of Gen Y mixed in. So Zillennials and Millennials, as they're known. And then in that 30 to 49 range, you're picking up some of the Millennials with Gen X, which is that smaller group or sandwiched in between Millennials and Boomers. And then you have your baby boomers, the Gen X, the next group, 50 to 64. You have some Gen X and some baby boomers. And then from up there, a little bit of boomer plus the silent or golden generation. You could see it definitely starts to drop off in comparison. They're still out there, but in comparison to the other groups, not as heavily. Okay. And let's go back here. Sorry about that. So what do people want brands to be on social media? Definitely similar to if you had a storefront, people are walking in the door in some of these. They want you to be honest, definitely, friendly, helpful, just as if I walked in your store, don't want to be ignored. Funny, maybe more on social media. I don't necessarily need somebody who's funny when I'm walking into a storefront, maybe more than being mean, but it might be funny. Trendy, I say political rather than politically correct or snarky. Got to be careful when it comes to politics. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. red, blue, purple, whatever it is. We want to just be careful because we live in a very polarized society these days, and you don't want to offend potential customers. Just keep it out of business. Unless your business is politics, that might be kind of hard. Snarky, being very careful. Some people try to be snarky to be funny, but it can come off wrong. You can have big brands like Burger King and Wendy's can have Twitter fights with each other. It's kind of in fun, in jest, but they can pull it off. It's harder for us to do it without it coming potentially offensive. So you have to be very careful about that. And then what can brands do on social media to get people to make a purchase? So if your goal is to get people to purchase a product or service, how do you do that? So generally, again, pretty same as if you had a storefront. People want you to be responsive to encourage them to buy, offering promotions. People always like to save a little bit of money, especially in these days. Providing educational content about your product and service, exclusive content, potentially interesting visuals, and of course, they still like you to be a little funny as well. So definitely nothing has changed really. We're all looking just to get help, make a sale, make it easy on us, make it easy to learn about the product or service. So here we're going to go by each of the platforms. Okay, so Facebook, number one, it still is. Even the kids, I call them the kids, don't think that that Facebook is relevant anymore. It still is. As you can see here, generally those millennials, millennials are on here. Gen X, so again, some of these groups cross over. You can see here in that 50 to 64 and 65 plus. This is where you're going to see most of that group is on Facebook. You see that, pay attention, that 51 and 34% as I go along with the other platforms drops off. But 2.5 billion monthly active users is still very relevant. And again, just because you're 20 something might not be using it, make sure that across the board, it's very important social media wise. People are using it to discover products. So American consumers have discovered retail products to buy on Facebook. 96% of active Facebook users access it using mobile devices. So you should make sure that your website in this day and age in 2022, your website should be mobile friendly, or what's called responsive. So when you shrink it down to a mobile device, it should shrink down in size, and I don't have to scroll and pinch and expand to try to get and look around. You will lose people. So if your website is currently not mobile responsive, when you leave this the stream, go and get your website updated. And then how often should you post? Always the burning question. I know people want to say, do I really have to do it? More than once a week or once a month? The more you're out there, the more you're out there. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. It's basically kind of the rule. If you're not out there, no one's going to discover you. If you're only out there once a month, once a week, whenever you think about posting on Facebook. So I say bare minimum 3 times a week. Optimal once or twice a day, maybe once, a day, maybe at least 5 days a week. Maybe Monday through Friday, and we can do it on a weekend on occasion. But if you're starting from 0 or once, build up from there. I'm going to show you some a calendar tool later to help with that overwhelm, get over that overwhelm with posting up. But again, if you disappear, you're going to drop off the algorithm. And that's very important, especially when it comes to Facebook, because the organic reach with Facebook is so low. I'll talk about that real quick. With Facebook, especially. Instagram is starting a little bit, but the challenge with Facebook now is, in addition to your profile, your friends, you have pages that you like, right? You probably have a business page if you're a business in this audience, and you have groups. So because there's so much content potential right now, friends, groups, pages that you follow, if all of those content sources, friends and profiles, friends and all that, posted, I would have a never-ending stream of content. So the only way Facebook can kind of slow down the content is to show me what's most relevant. And the only way to do that is if I engage with the content. So I'm clicking on something, I'm liking, sharing, commenting. Facebook won't know if I'm just sitting there, scrolling through my screen and, oh, I love my friend Joe's cat video. Cool. But I don't interact with it in any way. So the algorithm will see like, okay, I like that page's content, or I comment a lot. I'll continue to see that content. So that's why you see a lot of maybe your friends or pages drop off, because you're not engaging with it. So the more you give them engaging content, the more they can engage and the more reach you're going to get. Right now, Facebook's organic reach is only about 1 to 3%. So even if you have 5,000 likes on Facebook, only about 2% on average are going to see your posts on a daily basis because of that. The other reason is they want you to buy advertising, spend some money with them. So they start pulling back. If you want to see more content, got to pay to play. Okay. Build it, they'll come. Pay to play. Right. So making sure you just stay consistent as possible. Again, don't share a bunch of posts in quick succession and then think, okay, that's all I have to do for a week. There's scheduling tools out there. I'm going to show you a quick slide at the end of some tools I use. And don't disappear. Again, that affects the algorithm and what you show. And I'll explain Instagram, how they do it as well. I have a slide on that. So again, post as much as you possibly can on there. And when you post matters too. Usually during the week, Monday through Friday, you can do 1 to 4, your highest day of engagement here. Best days to post, they show you generally middle of the week, middle of the day, sometimes in the evening. You can look at your Facebook insights for your page, and it will tell you when your fans, your likers are online. And generally we all follow the same pattern. We go to sleep at certain times, we wake up, go online. So generally based on the Facebook algorithms, kind of that middle of the day, and then it could peak again. If you have an older audience, maybe you're on the, say, Gen X senior market, and some of them might go to bed earlier, then you might not be doing the 6 to 10 p.m. when they're on social media. So check out your analytics and see when your people are online, which is right here. I left that slide in here. This is Facebook Insights, when your fans are online, and it will show you this kind of graph of when the peak time is. And you can see here from the sample, generally about middle of the day, middle of the week is when people are most engaged on your posts. Instagram, number two, size, 1 billion. It's a little over like 1.1 billion now on Instagram. About male female ratio about the same. Facebook is a little bit higher, if you noticed. Pay attention to the age range. If you remember that 51 and 34% for the 50 to 50 plus range, you can see it does drop off here quite dramatically for that age range for Instagram. They're on there, just not as much as the millennials and millennials. So it's definitely a younger audience, but not saying if you are hitting 50 plus people that you don't do Instagram. Some of you might have more specific demographics of ages, and some of you might transcend across all demographics, but definitely very important to use Instagram as well. And again, they just like Facebook, they are discovering products and services on Instagram. And Instagram helps 80% of Instagrammers decide whether to buy a product or service. So they are using it to look for products and services there. And the type of posts, Instagram has a lot of different options now. Of course, number one is images, the posts. You have videos and carousels on there. Now Instagram Reels, of course, are the videos. So these are the different types of Instagram posts. You have, your standard post here, your feed screen, and then your profile screen, which will show you all your profile information and a couple of your recent posts on here as well. Carousels, relatively new in the scheme of Instagram time. This gives you the ability to put multiple pictures in one post, where before, if you had 10 party pictures, you had to do 10 posts, right? So now you can do carousels. Instagram Reels is new as of August 2020 to kind of compete with TikTok out there. I don't know if there's any other third-party videos out there in Vimeo, and there's that Vine that have kind of died on the vine, so to speak. So Instagram Reels, now you can see it on Instagram. They also show on Facebook as well. And as of early last year, Instagram, because TikTok is a competitor, if you load third-party video, TikTok or others on Instagram, they may not show it as much as if it was an Instagram Reel, because they want to highlight their native product. So just keep that in mind. better to use the native product, Instagram Reels, than loading up TikTok videos on there or other videos from other sources. So their algorithm will favor Instagram Reels over other third party. So, and then Instagram stories. Instagram was the first one to create stories, and that's basically just 24-hour content that will disappear, of course, after 24 hours. And unless you save it, you can save it as what's called highlights on there before it totally disappears. And you can do things like swipe ups, which to go look for information, but you have to, I believe the rule is still 10,000 plus followers in order to do swipe ups. Instagram stories, or you can do things like tags, surveys, polls. You do these little icons and stickers and things like that on there. So you have a couple different options. And again, because it's 24-hour content, you might want to mix it up, not do everything in stories. You want to have some posts and some videos, but you can also do the stories. And then the type of content to share on Instagram, and these are no particular order, of course, the general stuff that we all want to see. People, human faces, though, get more likes than photos without faces, as you see here. People love animals, food, depending on what industry you're in, but food is definitely popular. Inspirational quotes across the board, whichever platform you're on, people do like to see quotes. Video content, of course. This is a how-to video by a beauty subscription box company. Historical, if you have anything to do with your business or your industry or maybe your town, throwback Thursday type stuff that people like to see that. And then if you're lucky enough to have user-generated content, you have this, if somebody posts something up of your product or service and tags you, that's great content to have, not something that you can necessarily control out there, but suggest it, put it on there, hey, if you're going to tag us, make sure you, if you take a picture, make sure you tag us, use this hashtag, use our, our business. I'm trying to think of the name now. I'm blanking out all of a sudden. So make sure you use our business name and tag your business. Behind the scenes. So if you have something, people like to see, how do you do what you do potentially? But be mindful. Somebody asked me in a class, like, what if I have something proprietary and I show it and they can steal it? I'm like, well, then don't put that up there. Make sure it's not a company trade secret that you're sharing. But if you have something that people would want to see behind the scenes, what your employees are doing, obviously something that would, not affect your business in a negative way. And then landscapes and scenery, of course. And interesting enough, it says the color blue does get more engagement, but don't go and put a blue filter on all your pictures because of that. Maybe try out some. But interesting that people do engage with the color blue. Real-time trends. So in this case, this example, a Pokemon Go, I don't know if that's still a thing, but a bakery did some Pokemon Go donuts or something on there. So if it works, if there's a trend going on and that works for your business model, and use that as well. And then how many hashtags? I get this question a lot. This is for Instagram. Across the board, there's no hard and fast rule. Instagram says up to 30 hashtags in a post. You don't have to do 30. So you can see here on this little survey thing, it says about average post has about 11 hashtags. And then on stories, you can do up to 10 for stories, 1 sticker or 3 in a text box, and up to 30 for Instagram TV. But again, you don't have to do 30. You can do less than that. So I'm sharing this, if you guys are going to get the slides on here in this particular presentation, but I just show you can go Google this best Instagram hashtags by the number of posts on there that they get. Of course, these are all very top level posts, hashtag follow, hashtag love. You can definitely use these as part of your hashtag mix. If you want, just keep in mind there's, a lot of content out there using these particular hashtags. And then there are different types of hashtags to consider. Some people are like, how do I know? How do I know what hashtags to use? So here are some examples. So community hashtags. And within community, there are about 9 different types of community hashtags. So one, as you see here, a hashtag indicating your product or service. A hashtag sweater, hashtag coffee shop. Hashtag indicating your niche in the industry. Might be a photographer that focuses on weddings or travel. babies, so hashtag wedding photographer. And then you have your Instagram community. So we call it of Instagram hashtag. So bakers of Instagram, foodies. I use wines of Instagram for my winery clients. So there's a lot of Instagrams. You can kind of just search on Instagram and see if your business, has these. And there's a lot of them like, pets of Instagram and pugs of Instagram. Hashtag for special events or seasons. So hashtag White Day, National Donut Day. There's a lot of different hashtags you can use for that. And then location. So in this case, Pastry NYC, made in Toronto, made in Los Angeles, woman-owned Los Angeles, things like that. Daily hashtags. So Monday motivation, Tuesday tip. I'll show you that on the content calendar shortly. So hashtags with irrelevant phrases on them. So hashtag be creative, bakery love. There's some that are acronyms, quote of the day, outfit of the day, things like that. And then, of course, your branded hashtag. You should have one for your business and use it on every single post. So if you want to be able to quickly find content, you can just put that hashtag into search and you'll pull up everything that's posted with that hashtag. You can also do it, in this case, the example, if you can see here, Estee Lauder did one more of a campaign. So maybe I used the wrong example here. So Estee wish list rather than Estee Lauder. That would be more of their branded hashtag. And then campaign hashtag. So specific in this case, this Teza they had a promotion going for the 10 days of Christmas. It was said 12 days of Teza app they use for a specific campaign. So if you're running a campaign, kind of like that Estee wish list would probably be more of a campaign hashtag on there. So those are the different types out there. You mix it up, be creative with them out there. And again, the best times to post, kind of similar to Facebook, middle of the day, and then again in the evening, depending on your crowd. Wednesdays generally get the highest amount of engagement on Instagram. So middle of the week, middle of the day, generally. But mix it up. Doesn't always have to be exactly at 2 p.m. every day. You can do it in the evening. Try 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, see what kind of level of engagement, if that changes at all. And again, back to how often, the more, the better. The average Instagram business account posts once a day. And in this case, forget that where it says one low. I usually say bare minimum 3 times a week, optimal once or twice a day. And again, don't do the quick succession or disappear because they do have an algorithm as well. Not as serious as Facebook or low as far as the organic reach, but they are using algorithms now to affect what's being shown. So how do I grow my following? This is across the board, for Instagram, definitely make sure your bio has all filled out, clear description of what you do, the call to action, you have your action buttons, your bio link that can either be right to your website or you can use a tool like Linktree or LinkedIn bio that you can go to multiple pages. So you don't always have to change it out for a specific promotion or post, or just drop everybody at your homepage and hope for the best from there. Make sure you have your branded hashtag on there as well. This is an example from Buffer for analytics and things, but you should be able to put your branded hashtag and have it on there so people know to use it. And this was interesting too. You can add your location for more engagement. So if you have a storefront, or you can even put a kind of, I tried this. It says you can put just kind of a general location, like I'm just in Los Angeles, but I don't want to share my physical location because I don't have somebody coming to my home office to find me here. But if you do put a physical location on here, you can get more engagement potentially. And this is just an example. I use a tool called Later, later.com, to publish. And they have this built in where you can just search for the business name and then it will pop up and add the location on there below the caption and hashtags and all of that. So it makes it a little bit easier to tag the location on there. And these 2 slides are kind of no-brainer. I say no duh, right? The more you post to Instagram, the more likes you get, right? Of course, the more you post to Instagram, the faster your follower grows, right? It's like, of course, the more you're out there, the more you're going to grow. The more people are going to see you, the more potentially going to follow you and like you. So no-brainer there. And this is the Instagram algorithm I was talking about. they're as of last year, they're starting to use this algorithm. They're part of Facebook, of course. And they just like last month added different chronological views. So Instagram, like Facebook 18 years ago when it was only your friends, they would show everything chronologically. You'd see all of your friends' posts, and then as it grew, then it's like, okay, now we have to change up this algorithm and do the relevant stuff. So Instagram's doing that too, right? They only have followers, they don't have groups and pages, but there's a lot of content going on. So they're changing it where it's like they're basing it on what you're interested in, the timeliness of this post, your relationship to the people, the accounts that maybe you're engaging with, how often you're on Instagram, who you follow, and how much time you spend on Instagram. And then they also just have new, went back to new chronological views. So there's different tabs. So you can go follow people you're following and your favorites, if you favorited any pages or profiles, I should say. So you can change the view, but just keep in mind it's no longer chronological. And that's why you're not going to see everybody's post in order. And just experiment with different types of content. I already mentioned stories, your posts, your carousels, your reels. You know, people love video content, so make sure you're using that as well. All right. So Twitter. So this is a little bit more B2B compared to the other two, 330 million. The others were 1 and 2 billion users. So not as big, but different use, right? Definitely more male than female, almost double male-female ratio. 35 to 65 years old. So you're talking the millennials to the Gen X to the boomers range, so a little bit older. You won't find the young folks on there. It's definitely more of a business to business tool, even though people are using it to find particular products and services on there. But generally, you're going to find more business to business related content on there. I use it more personally, and I know some other folks do as well. This is where I go for news. I'm looking at Twitter all the time. I'm a journalist background. I always want to know what's going on. And if there's breaking news, typically what happened on Twitter before anywhere else, before you can find it on the TV or radio, or obviously not newspaper. Maybe if you go to your favorite news feed and find it, but generally Twitter, depending on who you're following. Of course, I follow a lot of journalists and politicians and things to stay in the know. So generally people go and tweet quickly. So different uses, obviously. Generally, as far as posting, because it's more business to business, it's going to be a little more Monday through Friday. Usually kind of during the lunch hour is the busiest time, but all day, Monday through Friday, you're not going to find as much going on Twitter on Saturday and Sunday. And I always mention this, don't do this in where you can connect, it's kind of the lazy way of doing it. I'm like, oh, I'll just post on Instagram and have it connect over to Twitter automatically, or Facebook to Instagram, or Instagram to Facebook. You can connect in different ways and have it, but the content potential is so different. It's and I don't, as a Twitter user, I don't want to have to leave my Twitter environment on the left, right? So it's just going to give me some links and some little basic information. Then I have to click off and go into Instagram to see the post. So better use a tool, like I mentioned, later.com. They can easily post to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest on there. So you don't have to, connect the two, have the different user experience. You can do links, direct links in the captions on Twitter and Facebook where you can't on Instagram. You have Instagram specific hashtags. So you want to make sure, I always say separate them, just use a publishing tool to make it easy. And then Snapchat, kind of the baby of the family, right? 210 million users. Nationwide, it's probably a little bit higher since 2019. Definitely the babies on here, the young kids, the zillennials, the millennials. You can see here, not so much as it drops up to upper millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. Definitely for the young ones. More female than male, almost double, kind of opposite of Twitter. Best times to post, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. They're generally on all day. But keep in mind, too, depending on if you have a product or service for a child or a teen or whatever, depending on what that product or service is. If you're a tutor, for example, and you tutor, middle school and high school students, you're not going to go on Snapchat because your buyer is their parents, right? So that would be more Facebook potentially, or Instagram. than Snapchat. So think about, depending on your age and, watching Saturday morning cartoons and all the cereals and toy commercials, because they knew we're on there, and then we're going to go bug our parents for those. But most likely they're not going to see a tutoring commercial on there, because the kids aren't going to go, hey, mom, can you hire me a tutor? So keep that in mind if you're in the younger audience, where it's appropriate to post based on who really is the buyer of the product. And then LinkedIn, again, more B2B, definitely the number one channel for business to business. Usually Twitter is a little bit above Facebook here, but they're relatively close here. Just some quick stats on here. People are discovering B2C customers through LinkedIn. 93% of B2B marketers consider LinkedIn to be the most effective site for lead generation. So LinkedIn generates more leads for B2B companies than Facebook, Twitter, blogging individually. So just a few quick stats there. I think it's now up to 800 million users. So just a little bit below Facebook here. 55 million companies on the platform. A little bit more female than male, and generally 30 to 49 is kind of your biggest group, but it's generally like 30, 30, 30. But in this case with the age, important to remember, don't get caught up on the age with LinkedIn, because it doesn't matter as much as the other groups. If you're trying to reach out to CEO of companies, does it matter if it's a CEO that's 30-year-old or 50-year-old? Not really. Hey, if they're running a company and they're interested. I have a transportation logistics client. She has a multi-million-dollar company here in Los Angeles, and she is 33 years old. She started that company from the ground up after starting as a receptionist for a transportation company in her teens and 20s. So do you care that she's 33 and has a multi-million-dollar transportation logistics business compared to somebody who has the same business as 53? Doesn't matter, right? So interesting just to show you this statistic. But generally it's about 30, 30, 30, a little 30% younger, 30% older than this group. This is kind of the core group that are in their prime of, say, out in their careers, out there doing their businesses. Maybe the older crowd is starting to retire, sell off their businesses, etc. So, but again, don't get caught up too much on this case when it comes to male, female, unless you have a specific product or service and B2B wise that maybe only targets male audience or female audience. Most of them, 25% are senior level influencers, and people do use LinkedIn during the buying journey process to do the research process for products, not necessarily consumer products though. And during the day, as far as posting, usually twice. I have an older slide here, but first thing in the morning and first thing, or just as they're leaving for the day, are the two popular times to post. Kind of middle of the week, leaving Monday and Friday alone, because when people are coming back after the long weekend or getting ready for the weekend. And how to find leads on LinkedIn. Generally, you want to keep your profile updated. You want to go out and find connections. There's a lot of specific searches you can do by profession, by industries. Just play around with that search function out there. Write and ask for recommendations. You want to fill out your content on LinkedIn. Be active on it, right? Join groups that are relevant to your industry or industries you're interested in. Be active, like on celebrating the accomplishment of others, birthdays, their work anniversaries. Those usually pop up for your connections. Make sure you're engaging in this platform, right? And the don'ts, they're opposite, kind of like don't not engage. You want to make sure you're giving as well as receiving, connecting with people, updating your profile, all of that stuff, and don't necessarily spam. This is a networking platform, so don't be afraid to network. Reach out. People are going to do that with you. Don't get upset if you get a pop-up message and like, hey, let me tell you about my latest and greatest. It's the purpose of it, right? So just be mindful that you're hitting up the right people that you can network with, but don't be afraid to actually network. That's kind of the purpose of it. You can set up a business page as well as your profile. It kind of works like Facebook, where you first have a profile and then you add a business page and you administer it through your profile. You can engage with people with that, post and add LinkedIn groups to your page. So it's just about expanding that reach. It's all about just building relationships, just as if you were meeting at a mixer in person. You're doing it online. Okay. And then YouTube, of course, video content, definitely more men than women, as we see here. People do use it to find products and discover new products and services. A lot of businesses are using it. So people love video content. So it's important to have a YouTube channel for your products and services. Best time to post generally towards the end of the week. People are viewing it more on the weekends. So definitely important to have that. Consumers love seeing social media content here, and they want to see it more from you. 54% want to see more video content from brands they support. Oops, sorry, I went right past that one. Let me see if I can go backwards. There we go. Vast majority of videos are shorter than 60 seconds. You want to keep them short. Optimal video length for Instagram is less than 30. You want to be careful if you post things to Instagram TV, they need to be 60 seconds and above. Don't ask me how I know that. We did one at 58 seconds and it got rejected. So 60 and above for IGTV if you're posting up videos there. Videos do get more engagement than any other type of content on Instagram. 1,200% more shared than any other type of content. TikTok here, of course, is, direct competitor of Reels, but it was out there before. A little bit younger audience out there, more adults, older adults were using it, of course, during the pandemic. Generally, you're going to find that kind of the zillennials and lower millennials are going to be the bigger users of this particular platform. And then Pinterest as well. So it's still out there, 478 million active users. 6 out of 10 now are women. Used to be almost 100% women. And kind of that 30 to 49, the millennial Gen X kind of crowd there. Number one category, home design. So if you do anything in the home design, landscape, decor, anything in that's going to be the number one category. People do, again, use it for product discovery, but during the discovery phase, usually unbranded. They're not going on Pinterest looking for specific brands, just particular products or services. And these are the top 10 pin categories. So, of course, here, home design, women's fashion, health and fitness, weddings, party, travel, DIY crafts, all those. You can use these for your business. You can use different things depending on your business. They might work beyond just the obvious category. And best times to post, generally not during the work hours, usually in the evenings after people are back from work. They spend more time pinning and researching and posting and all of that. And then you can do Facebook Lives, very important for your business to do that as well. Some people a little shy about it, but if you do them, make sure you're doing them right. Make sure you plan out kind of not a script, but just an outline. Especially if you're doing a Q&A or interview, you don't want to be caught like, what do I say? What do I do? Make sure when you're live, you want to make sure the sound is good. If you're outside, a slight breeze can sound like a gale force wind. Lighting looks good. You promote it beforehand. You can let people know that you're going to be doing a live, unless it's, something spontaneous, but generally most things, if you want to plan it out a little bit, and make sure you're saving those recordings for later. And Facebook Live definitely back in favor again, especially as you can see here after the pandemic, where people are getting comfortable with using it. I know I see a lot more lives happening out there. Instagram and Facebook stories, definitely it gets better organic reach than posts. The main reason is the placement, and I don't know what happened there. When we did a conversion from PowerPoint over to Google Drive, it looks like I lost some pictures somehow. But basically, it's what this slide was showing is above the fold. The stories are always at the top of the page, where your Facebook newsfeed is always scrolling. So I don't know. Yeah, it looks like I lost the Instagram stories. That's weird as well. So it's always at the very top, and that's why it shows why it gets more reach. So, and I just want to make sure. I know we're getting close on time here. I don't know if there's any questions coming in, but I'll keep on going unless I hear from the library staff as far as continuing on. So Facebook groups definitely changed. Mark Zuckerberg in late 2019 announced, with all of their violation of privacies and people leaving and fake news and manipulated content, decided to announce that the future is private, We're going to focus back or more on their Facebook groups that always existed. But people look at it as more authentic content and kind of trusted community, trusted resources. Kind of, I call it the essence of privacy. You're kind of in a small bubble within Facebook of people. Know how private it is necessarily because you're in there with other people sharing, private information potentially. But definitely different than just putting stuff out on your newsfeed, right? So a lot of people are using Facebook groups now in multiple groups. This is a company called Aaron Condren Designs, and they actually don't manage their own groups. They have user-generated groups or brand ambassador groups, so to speak. But you could, create their own pages that are groups that are, for the newbies using their planners or people who wanted to keep it simple or a marketplace. So a lot different than their page. These are where discussions can happen, free flow of community discussion about their products, sharing products and things like that. So definitely great because the community is helping sell the products because they're talking about it and saying, hey, don't miss out on the sale. And I have this product, you should too. So a lot of different uses with Facebook groups. But if you're starting one, make sure you're strategic about a name. You want to have it because you want it searchable. If somebody's looking for daily planner groups or Bengal cats, they're going to type in Bengal cat clubs, not Bootsy's Fun Adventures. So you want to be strategic and make sure it's something searchable as well. And so how do you grow your social media following? Fortunately, there's no, magic fairy dust or unicorn sprinkles or anything. Again, being regular, consistent, speak to your audience, know who that is, have a clear brand voice and brand identity. Make sure that, if you're a more conservative voice, that everybody in your company knows it's conservative and not something that's, maybe less, not saying conservative when it comes like politically, but just a conservative voice rather than more a fun or serious voice kind of thing. Matching the message and format to the proper network. Making sure you share your follow buttons everywhere on your website, on your emails, everywhere in your storefront. Make sure you're checking the links for your online, shares of make sure it's not going to a broken link or to just a facebook.com. Follow influencers in your industry and share their content. You can find them, see who's talking about food or makeup or whatever it is in your industry is. Respond to your followers. Make sure you're engaging in their content. If they're commenting, liking, sharing, make sure you're engaging with that. Make sure it's easy for others to share your content. And then look at your stats. See what's popular, and use that. Keep using that content. Not only if people just like your video content, make sure you mix it up, but see what people are liking, out there engaging in. And I know we are getting close on time, which I knew would happen. So I do want to share, if that's okay, with the library to share the calendar, because I think that part is important. So I'm going to kind of skip past this content real quick and get to that because I think that's key. So the calendar that I have, and I know the library is going to share an email at the end that you can email them and ask them to send you this calendar. It's an Excel file. It helps take away the overwhelm if you plan ahead when it comes to your social media and your email campaigns and your blog. Plan ahead, get it down on paper, and this is going to help take away the overwhelm. Still have to create the content, but once you get it out on paper, it's going to make it easy. So my Excel file is going to have some different tabs. It's going to have some hashtag days that you're going to add onto the calendar page as content. Again, like Facebook with that organic reach at 2 to 3%, you want to get as much content out there that people are going to engage in. So some hashtag days can work. There's some content ideas for you to look at on the calendar, or if you download the calendar, you're asked to have it emailed to you rather. You can you'll see on the left this particular Excel file. The right is just on my slides, but the you can do ask the expert, industry articles, fun, get personal things, hobbies, inspirational quotes. Things happening in the news. So a lot of different things you want to do to get people to engage. Okay. And then national holidays. So there's a lot of fun holidays in addition to the traditional that you can add, like National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. You might have nothing to do with peanut butter and jelly, but as an example, people would engage with that because a lot of us ate peanut butter and jelly as kids. So you can ask, what was your favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwich as a child, kind of thing. Get people to engage in on your content. So this is the calendar page. So business to consumer, say version on how you fill it out. It's color coded, as you can see. The social media posts are in blue on there. I'll just explain that quickly. It's pretty easy to use. The first line of blue is going to be what type of post. I'm going to do a hashtag day. I'm going to do a holiday. I'm going to do ask a question, inspirational quote. And then the second line of blue is going to be what specifically are you going to do, right? I'm going to Wine Wednesday. I'm going to do a Merlot tasting video on the 3rd. On Foodie Friday the 5th, I'm going to do a Chardonnay and fettuccine Alfredo pasta. Want to be as specific as possible. So when you're planning, I need to pull that Merlot tasting video. I need to pull my Zinnin pork recipe for the 12th. So get as specific as you can. Email campaigns on here in orange, you can see you basically work a little backwards. You have a specific thing that you're promoting, maybe a holiday or an event or a special, and you kind of work backwards from there. And once you plan it out on the calendar and have all this on the calendar, again, it takes it out of your head. Like, I have nothing to talk about. I can't do 5 posts a week. If you'll see, it'll get easier if you get it out there and mix it up, batch. Sit and spend a day or a couple hours batching. Like, I'm going to do all this week's posts, right? So once you do get it on the calendar, you can see you can coordinate your social media and email campaigns out there. Okay, and here are a couple tools that I use real quick. Canva, canva.com. If you're not familiar with it, go to canva.com. You can create marketing, graphics, materials, offline and online graphics, pretty much anything you need to create. And you do not have to be a graphic designer. There's tons of templates on there to start from that you can edit. You can bring in your own pictures. You can bring in your own fonts. Very easy to use, and it's cheap. It's like $10 a month. There's a free version, but do the paid version. You get a lot more features and very easy to create them. The other tool I mentioned a few times, later.com, is a publishing tool. And again, you can post to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and TikTok now. There is a free version, but they've recently stripped it down to about 10 posts a month for free now, or instead of 30. So, but it's like $15 a month, similar to Canva. So very easy to use. And as far as if you're listening to this feed and watching this feed, think about how to plan to grow your business with social media, what kind of support you need, whether you hire somebody within or hire somebody outside. What is that going to look like for your business? And are you budgeting for marketing or waiting to make money to have a marketing budget? Make sure you have a budget for marketing ahead of time. Takes money to spend. Got to spend money to make money out there. So you're all invited. If you're listening and watching this, you can scan this QR code on your screen or just go to callwithpatty.com and get on my calendar, and you can schedule a discovery call with me. Ask any questions you have about your social media or anything to do with marketing in general. No obligation to do anything with me at all, but you're welcome to take advantage of that discovery call. And I can definitely, the library is going to share an email that you can send to get a copy of my calendar, or use any calendar you want. Just get it down on paper. It definitely will help you take away the overwhelm. So with that, I know I just left a few minutes for questions. I don't know if we had any that came in at this point. Deborah? Oh, I don't hear. You're on mute. Oh. There we go.
I sure was. All right. Thank you again for being here. That was really an informative presentation. We really appreciate your time being with us today. A couple of questions that we have. One would be, how many posts should be promotional posts versus other types of posts?
Good question. I get that a lot. So generally the rule has always been kind of a 1 to 10 ratio, like 1 promotional post via 9 other educational or non-promotional, but it doesn't have to be that exact. You just don't want it all to be buy. This is what I sell. It could be, like I said, you can do the fun inspirational quotes, ask a question, and then kind of mix that in. So generally about that ratio, maybe a couple more than the 1 to 10 ratio, but just about that.
Okay, great. Thank you. The other question is, can I post the same content on all the platforms that I use?
Yes, you can. And, you might want to mix it up a little bit. Say, I'll give an example. My transportation logistics client, her core is B2B. So LinkedIn is where we focus a lot of it, but we're also doing social media on Instagram and Facebook. So we use LinkedIn for more of the kind of business content, and the other one's more for company culture type stuff, fun stuff as well, just to kind of, also B2B. So we do mix it up a little bit, but in general, for business to consumer, you can. The only difference is going to be potentially different captions, shorter, longer, different hashtags, things like that. But you can definitely share across all the same platforms.
Great. That's really helpful to know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, let me see. I think those are all the questions. So I guess if anything else comes in, we'll drop it in if we have the time. But I guess at this point, we'll just say thank you so much for sharing all your experience with social media for business with us and with all of our viewers. And to the viewers, for more information on connecting with Patty, she did share her information. And you can also find other business mentors like Patty at score.org. They just put up the email address to email to connect with Patty. And the last thing to share is, again, our programming for Financial Literacy Month continues next week on Monday, April 25th. Again, we'll be presenting on how to create a budget. Tuesday, April 26th, we'll present on scam prevention and ways to prevent financial elder abuse. And again, small business owners who want to do business with the City of Los Angeles, you should join us on Wednesday, April 27th, where we'll have speakers from the Mayor's Office of Economic Development discuss vendor requirements, contracting, and how to use the Regional Alliance Marketplace for procurement. And all of our programs will be at 12 p.m. For more information on all of our financial literacy programs, please visit our Financial Literacy Month webpage at lapl.org, Financial Literacy Month. And thank you all again for being here, and have a really great day.
Thank you.